Hello and welcome to Global Symposium. I'm Thiess Dumbuya and I'm glad to be here hosting you again today on a technology discussion broadcast. On this show, we discuss the technology's impact on human life, the dangers, the warning signs that are given by experts around the world. Today, I may be joined by my guests, the Apostle Wall. They are all doctors, authors, fathers, and heads of businesses as well as ministries. And we do not hold a religious conversation about technology, but on occasion we may mention about the factors of faith on this broadcast. And again, it's not meant to offend anyone, but it is justified because it is part of the warning and dangers about technology. So today on the broadcast, what I would like to present to you is a discussion about our reliance on technology. We could go over a history of technology, and research would try to tell you when mechanization was started in the Industrial Revolution. But the truth is, it was started way before that when men were shaping tools. When men learned how to shape tools, not men as in males, but men as in humankind. And so, skipping through when technology was started, the important thing is, how is technology today affecting our life? A lot of people are not paying attention, or a lot of people are not aware of technology's impact on our life, our health, and every aspect of our living and being, every aspect of society. Um, and then there are those who are more educated, who read, who listen to the news, and who are aware of the general dangers about technology on human life. But in this broadcast and through our Global Symposium platforms on social media and so forth, our publications, our books, our videos, trainings, coaching, mentoring, and empathetic listening, now we're providing that, we're actually taking more of a deeper dive into how technology is impacting potentially you, and you may not be aware of it, or your family members, or your family dynamic. You may not be paying attention to it, but it's very important that you do, because a lot of these impacts we're discussing bring a deterioration to life. They bring some type of destructive element, some type of um, hindrances that form barriers that end up interfering in our functioning. And so when anything begins to interfere in your functioning, it's got to be taken seriously, and you need to be aware of it. We need to be aware of it, all of us. And so the purpose of the broadcast is, first of all, to raise awareness, that everyone become more aware of how is technology affecting you, your family, your community and culture, your nation. How is technology affecting you? And so, if we look at these things, these aspects of how technology may be affecting you, is affecting you, will likely affect you in the future, that's what we're going to be discussing today. And all of these things we're discussing today, are pretty much all of them, are in my new book called Consequences. So, as we delve into the negative impacts of technology, that is not to negate that there are positive impacts to technology. But the problem is that the negative impacts, the dangers, the deterioration, the destruction of technology to human life comes with the positive things. So now you have to decide for yourself and monitor the effects of the negative aspects on you on an ongoing basis. Okay, so one of those aspects is how much time you spend on technology, and if you have a potential or a problem for becoming addicted to technology or dependent on technology, which brings us to our subject for today, reliance on technology. Okay, so some of the negative impacts of technology are social isolation and uh, the aspects of mental health that come through that social isolation. The privacy concerns, you've probably heard about that because most people are very interested and keep more up to date on data breaches and cyber attacks and things like that. They're more concerned with that than they are other aspects that haven't hit them yet, like job placement or displacement, which are both affected by technology and AI. Our over reliance on technology is something that you also may not be keeping up with. How much are you relying on technology, and what role does that play in our lives? Now, I'm saying our lives because I don't want to seem like I'm just pointing a finger. Technology is affecting almost everyone, everywhere. And those who are not being affected yet stand to benefit the most from this broadcast. And you who are hearing this and do become more aware, I charge you with the responsibility, if you would accept it, to teach and tell and train other people as you go, and to bring them to the broadcast and to the different books that we are writing and have publishing. We're publishing now on an ongoing basis, as well as our social media platforms, which do post the information basically in slides, little snippets. So technology is definitely impacting all communication. I know you've heard me say in 2025 or so, 95% of communication will be taken over by technology. You will be talking to a bot and not a person, is the prediction and the path we're on, the schedule we're on. As you see AI increasing and generative AI and different types of applications of technology. AI is a technology. For those of you who don't know, artificial intelligence is a definite technology. And so the communication technology impact involves our social detachment and the reduction of links, personal linking to the real world. This is a problem. When people become detached from each other, and society is a problem. One of the things that keeps us from harming each other is empathy and compassion for other people. So when you become detached and removed from other people, or caring about other people, or interacting with other people, it can create a greater problem. We're just scratching the surface of some of the known documented health and other problems of destruction and harm incorporated with technology by experts in every field. Okay, mental health problems, anxiety, stress, depression, problem with your sleep, problem with eating. There are all kinds of negative effects and aspects of technology in terms of mental health. People can actually prefer technology instead of people if they use the internet often enough, or bond with the internet in that way. And it's possible, and it doesn't have to be any genetic predisposition. So one of the other negative aspects that we are mentioning today is miscommunication and a lack of emotional depth. If you are talking to someone and they're not the least bit involved, engaged, or concerned, or involved at all, engaged at all with what you're saying, first of all, it's not a good feeling. Second of all, they're not paying attention to you and they're not valuing you. And so a lot of this boils down to our values, our morals, our values for other human life, as well as our own, our value for community, family, fellowship, intimacy, personal interaction, face-to-face contact, and tactile contact. These are very important aspects of human life that a lot of people may not really be considering or have realized how important and fundamental it is to our lives to have those things, and that we should not take those things for granted, nor should we allow technology to take them away from us. We should not allow technology to control our life, change our society in negative ways to the extent that we can control it. And there are some extents to which you may exercise your rights to control how much technology will impact you, your family, your friends, relationships, and community, if not in your nation. This is why it's important to learn this now, so you can take steps to bring people together that are like-minded. Listen, let me get off just for a second and say to you, technology is going to begin when it involves itself in our communication, which you've seen already. It's going to begin to, even more than it does now, categorize us by what we say, the things we write, the content we have online, pictures that are associated with us or that we use or that we produce, or even our appearance. We'll get into that later, the biases and the discrimination of technology. Technology should not have the right to now determine what information you have access to based on a stereotype or based on something other than your choice. And it has nothing to do with you breaking a law or anything wrong. It has to do with technology's algorithms being programmed to determine what you can and cannot have access to by its categorizing you and classifying you by the way you look, by the way you speak, by your word choices, by your subject matter, by what you view on the internet, all types of information that should not be allowed to limit your access or make decisions for you, whether they call it emotional intelligence or whether they call it something else pertaining to your behavior. It's not up to anyone else to determine what you or I can or cannot see in terms of having access to information. And we're on an information highway. Okay, we're on an information platform. We're on information providing technology. So why should technology be able to now limit what you can and cannot do when you're not doing anything that's legally wrong? Amazing to me is how criminals are able to use technology, go from being a low-level criminal to an extremely high-level successful criminal by using the internet technology. And you and I are red flagged, cut off of networks, all types of um, what I've forgotten my word that I want right now, but a policing, if you will, of what information you do and do not get, and who you are able to access or what you're able to access. Censoring, that's the word I was looking for. Some type of censoring is being performed by the algorithms and is biased by those who created the algorithms. And incidentally, as Oprah pointed out, directly on purpose or inadvertently on the ABC interview she did with Mr. Altman of OpenAI and also with Bill Gates, the algorithms were mostly created by people who look like the person she was talking to. And she called him, which I'll repeat, a white person, a white male. And so, which he is, but I'm just saying, if the biases are now transferred to technology and discrimination is transferred to technology, and now they are magnified instead of being de-emphasized and eliminated, now they're being multiplied and magnified, and a greater harm will be done in the future instead of a lesser harm. That is a problem we are dealing with technology. And I want you to understand that so that you can now begin to communicate to your officials, to your leaders, to those that you vote for, to those that are running the country, to people who are making decisions, to people in your industry, as well as in the industry of creating technology. A loud and clear message from humanity: stop this. Don't tell us you can't separate the good from the bad when you can. And if you can't separate the bad Why don't you just put brakes on it all until you fix it? Because people will die, people will suffer, people will have things done to them that feel like some types of violations to their being, not just words, to their health care, to their finances, and they will be upset. And that's why we're providing empathetic listening now, because uh, there's too much going wrong. If you keep trying to correct some of these mistakes, you'll find out it is very hard to get to a person. It is very hard to get a correction performed. And sometimes you just cannot. And sometimes it matters a whole lot that you can't get through to anyone and you can't fix the problem. There are some fundamental principles in our society that have helped us all to have peace, to have resolve, to live in some type of cooperative unity with a similar standard. The computer generated responses cannot produce the same thing as the human responses. We know that. We know that they're not empathetic. We know that they don't have compassion. They're not human, and they don't have human dimensions of judgment. They tried to put it in there, but it's just lacking. And the way that it's lacking is detrimental to our welfare as people and human beings across borders, across the globe. The same problem prevails with technology. Okay, so let's get back to our list of miscommunication and lack of emotional depth is a problem with technology. Dependency on digital validation. Now, this is more so sometimes for younger people, but it can hit business and industry and other aspects of technological use. It's very important that we don't get our validation from social media sites. This also is one of the ways that people are harmed and create emotional problems, or have created emotional problems, even addiction for themselves, is if their self-esteem is tied to their approval or disapproval by their acceptance or not being accepted by some group of people on the internet, no matter who it is. All right. So another one of the issues and problems that we have with technology, of course, is privacy and data security. Yes, this is a problem. We all know about it. And in the case of data security and privacy, there are some things that we're led to do that can help us, but there needs to be more. And we need to also help people employ the protections that they can put in place, including the frequent change of your passwords and limited access by any other person. And I would add, I'm very concerned about cloning of your voice, your fingerprint, your photograph, to allow identity and access, but at the same time, those things in the hands of the wrong person or wrong technologies can lead to a negative use that can be irreversible and devastating. There's no way to correct someone using your voice, body, and thumbprint in some signature or video of a crime. How do you correct that? How do you take out of people's minds or law enforcement what happened? Anyhow, hopefully we'll never have to face that, but some people will, and that's my concern is, what do we do to protect? How do we stop, put brakes on the internet and give the control back to people? Why didn't they think about the wrong technology uses in the hands of people who don't have moral decency, who are willing to do wrong to other people? Why didn't we say, as developers, I'm not going to put this out there because no one should be able to just use this any way they please to other people's harm, detriment, death, destruction, uh, and ruin people's lives, literally ruin people's families. I mean, this is very serious. Okay, let me try to pull myself away from that to healthcare. So, technology's role in healthcare can also be detrimental and destructive, not only about data and privacy and security risk, but it's exhaustive to try to find doctor's appointments and have to wait months and months and months and months because now your scheduling and the services you receive are uh, being managed by robotics, telemedicine, different prescriptions, although some people would try to argue that these are good things. There are many aspects that are not good, and the impersonal in medicine is not good. It leaves room for doctors to miss things on telemedicine that they do not normally see. It also exposes your environment, your home, or wherever you are when you meet with the doctor on the phone. And as you know, in the medical field, at least in the Western world, if they observe something or hear something, they're entitled to document it into your record. So now, are we going to start seeing documentation of living environments and conclusions and research about what the person's environment looked like? And how is that going to impact medical care? How is that going to impact stereotyping? How is that going to impact you and I and our families, our cities, and our nations? How is that going to impact the faith community when now, instead of you being able to have privacy in your own faith practices, there may be something in your household that exposes what your faith practices are? And there may be bias in your medical provider that respond to what they see or hear in your environment. These are some serious considerations that must be thought about. So, anyway, there can be exasperation, just exacerbation, just exhaustion in dealing with it, just trial and error, trial and error, trial and error until people are just exhausted with trying. And health inequities are absolutely there. And we don't want that. We don't want the underprivileged to be treated with disparity. We don't want poor people and poor environments to indicate, okay, this person is not important. This person is not a priority. This person doesn't deserve any more time than these 10, 15 minutes. I can't fool with them. And the health providers are getting put so many patients into their schedules that it's impossible to give a quality medical care in 15-minute time spans. And people have all types of histories, especially as they age, and they have all kinds of medical histories and complications. You can't possibly provide the quality medical care that this country is used to having or people around the world deserve with a 15-minute span of space to treat them, to talk to them, to inform them about whatever it is you think should or should not be done in terms of a treatment plan. And I understand that some people have 20,000 patients that they're seeing in a week. And they have admitted to me, we can't take quality care of all these people. We cannot. So we just try to do the best we can. Well, that is not good enough. That is a lowered standard produced by technology and the volume of technology. We cannot afford to have technology lower the standard of care, the quality, and the best judgment we had going on is now diminished to an a below substandard judgment based on what? Based on what? Based on the criteria fed into the algorithm and the technology. So things are going to be so stereotyped. What happens to those who don't fit in the stereotype, which is a lot of us? It's very, very serious and very, very dangerous. And it does mean the difference between life and death and between longevity and not having longevity. And it can also mean the difference between medical intervention and you not getting the care Because you weren't prioritized, because the computer missed something. Misinformation and false information are two more aspects of the healthcare industry dealing with technology that are a problem. And this problem is pervasive into many different aspects of technology because the computers are inconsistent. They're not perfect. They don't get everything right. They do have false information. They also have out of date information or inaccurate due to the time involved. The timing has to be current, and the timing has to tie. Important. It is very important for you to understand how much you are relying on the computer. So I'm going to give you some parameters for that right now and just interject it in this part of the broadcast. Number one, are you on the computer more than 2 hours straight without giving your eyes a break, without getting up, walking around, flexing your muscles, stretching, moving? Are you there doing something that breaks and disrupts your brain, totally absorbed in whatever's going on the computer? That is a good indicator that if you are on the computer 2 hours straight at a time, that you need to change that up. Get off the computer. Every hour is a minimum. Every half an hour is good. It's really good to get off, break your position in your posture, get some exercise, move around, flex a little bit, maybe drink some water, close your eyes and just leave them closed, bat them a few times away from the screen and shut down your hearing, whatever you were concentrating on the technology. Break from it. Just break. Give your brain a break. Call it brain break. Instead of coffee break, just brain break. Okay. And you need that tech break. The other thing is, are you spending 6 hours or more on the computer after you leave work and after you leave school? So if you're on the computer during school or work and it's a requirement, that's one thing. But after that, how much time are you on the computer? And that includes your phone, that includes checking emails, that includes checking social media, that includes watching videos or reels, that includes anything else you do on the computer. Are you on there from the time you get home in the evening while you change your clothes, get something to eat, take a shower? Is your computer still on? Are you still interacting with it while you're doing everything? And this definitely includes going to the laboratory because a lot of people take their phone in the bathroom and they're in the bathroom for at least an extra hour, whatever they're doing in there, because they have their phone on. And and it is just ridiculous that you can't go to the restroom without your phone. Okay, when you feed the cat, are you still looking at the phone? If you check the locks on the door at night, are you still looking at the phone? If you have a smart house, are you still looking at the phone? So I want you to just monitor yourself. Be honest with yourself, make a little list, get a little notebook now. You're going to start to police yourself and monitor yourself with the computer and see how much are you relying on technology? What do you actually do on technology on a daily basis? Jot it down. How much time are you on there without taking a break? Jot it down. Pay attention to your posture and your movement. Are you actually doing something while you're on the computer? Now, secretaries used to have sometimes a little pedaling machine under their desk, and they would pedal while they were sitting at their desk. Other people raised their desk and stood up while they were working. But what I'm trying to tell you is you have to find things that work for you because you cannot let uses of technology begin to now affect your health. So now that we know some of the ways that technology affect the health, what we want to do is prevent them. Do something to be the antidote to part of the problem of using technology and technology's negative aspects according to the warnings and dangers from experts. So exacerbation of health, we did touch on, and loss of human touch in healthcare. This is a problem because it can actually cause a person to feel depersonalized. It's very in person. When you go see a doctor, a nurse, a technician, a clinician, it's personal. And so now it becomes impersonal. So it's dehumanizing to you that you're now not even dealing with a person, or you're not dealing with a person personally. You got that? Yeah. Okay. So these are just things that you can go back, you can listen to the broadcast again, you can begin to teach and train and monitor yourself. And I'm giving a certificate in technological dangers awareness. I will create a certificate for you when you demonstrate a proficiency in this knowledge. And so please feel free to interact and communicate with me and with the show, because that is the purpose of a symposium. It is a two-way conversation. It is not a one-way conversation. So please do communicate on our social media platforms, and then I will try to respond, and anyone working with me will try to respond to you. The Apostle Walt will try to respond to you, because it is important for you to be able to teach other people these facts after you learn them, or as you are learning them, and bring them. Let them learn for ourselves and multiply the knowledge. Listen, technology is multiplying, rapidly increasing and improving itself. We have to try to keep up and get ahead of it. So if we don't take by the end of this year and really multiply everyone's knowledge around the world of technology dangers and warning signs, now you're going to see the technology step in next year, shut down communication, isolate people. Now being able to communicate is going to be a whole nother story, where what you're saying becomes policed, what you're doing, what you're showing becomes policed, becomes limited, becomes censored, becomes stopped, becomes stifled. Listen, I'm serious. You've got to get this knowledge to people around the world, just like I am, and let them know there are things you can do. Raise your awareness, make some decisions, monitor yourself, teach other people, talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to the people at work, talk to the owners of the businesses, and ask them, listen, we need to take more frequent breaks if we're on the internet all the time, because this is actually able to stop and retard our brain function. This has to do with our brain matter and our processing of information and our short and long-term memory. A job is not worth stopping your lifespan and limiting your health. And anybody who's morally responsible and respects its employees will say, you're right. There's going to be a requirement that every 20 minutes, half an hour, or whatever, you take a break. And you take a break, 10 minutes, whatever it is. You are away from the computer. You're not listening. You're not talking. You're not on your phone. Your ears are not doing something pertaining to the computer. There's no attachment that continues with you continuously in the computer. At work, at school, you need that. You need that. So we need to, if not legislate these things into existence, we need to definitely start talking to people who are making policies and decisions, so that our health care is more protected and our citizens are more protected around the world, that life is more protected, and that we are holding the people responsible that are going to start to govern AI. Listen, we are aware of these problems. We're giving you information about the technology problems, and this is what we want you to do. We want you to take into consideration what we're saying to you. We want you to take it into consideration, because we do not want these problems to escalate. We don't want them to exist. But if you can't stop them, you can at least reduce the effect. You can reduce the time frame. You can reduce the requirement by job or school. You can protect us. You can join with us in protecting ourselves, our homes, our families, especially when it comes to children. Children are the most affected by brain function with technology and being in front of the screen all the time. Babysitter, learning, anything, fun, relaxation, whatever. Computer, 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 screen, 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 TV, 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 watch, watch, watch. It's too much. It's not healthy and it's having a negative effect. They say, the experts are telling us that children's brains will not even fully developed. Their attention spans will be shorter, and this will carry on into their lifetime and their age. When they are older, they will still have these short attention spans, and it will affect their life. And so we don't want that. You can speak for yourself. That's why I'm informing you. I don't make decisions for everyone, but I do know this. If I have children, I don't want them to be retarded in their brain function. I don't want their cognitive functions to suffer because they use the computer too much, when I could limit how much they use the computer. And children are becoming addicted to computers and technology. Have you seen your child kick, scream, cry, yell, fuss like it's not even them? Because you won't let them have that technology right now, and they are almost demanding and insistent, I've got to have that phone. I've got to have that tablet. I have to. Give it to me. They're having fits because they are addicted to the technology, and they're developing a problem, and their attention spans being affected, and their brain functions are being affected. These are things that you learn on this show and that you can verify, you can vet, you can research for yourself. You can text into our social media platforms. Yes, you're right. I research this. Yes, I found 10 articles that are telling me this when I just Googled the topic. I agree. You're telling the truth on your show. This is very important because we're not here to glorify technology when technology is like a Trojan horse. It comes in, it tries to run everything, it takes over. It's not asking your permission, it's not getting your consent. This is being done whether you say so or not. And just like when the internet came, it starts to filter into everything. So are you really having a say? No. You're not. It's minimized. It's being reduced every day. It's been reduced every time AI develops. Listen, do you understand what AI does, or what some of the technologies do? They take the information, they siphon it, they take it. And then when they take it, they put it together and they store it. And then they cross reference it. And then they use it and multiply it and apply it outwardly. Do you know where they're applying the information? No. They're telling you it has nothing to do with identifying you. We're just doing this, this, and this type of information. But the problem is that might be true back then when they said, okay, we're not doing anything with identifying you. Now it is attached to your IP. You can call it for Homeland Security or anything else you want. It is attached to your identity. It is attached. I know for a fact, if I start writing something, the AI will come and pitch up things that I wrote 3, 4, 5 months ago and incorporate it into what I'm asking it for now. There's a memory. They say, we don't store what you did way back when. Oh, yes, they do. And if you prompt the GPT or other AI systems of technology, if you ask it, go back in your general knowledge, go into your general history. There are things you can ask it, and it will compile information from not only you, but whole lot of other people, a whole lot of other people. Did they give their consent for you to know what it is? No. Which brings me to another thing that we didn't discuss yet. Don't put all your information and ideas on the technology to discuss it with them and ask them to solve things, ask them for their input, because that whole idea is now public, in a matter of speaking, public to at least the technology. Okay, I'm going to say the technology's public. The technology's storage will now hold whatever you told it. Whatever it heard, if it was on and there was a discussion in your environment, it retains. I tell you, it told me it could not call 911. And then my grandson was coughing and it said, sounds like someone has a problem. Would you like me to call the emergency unit or someone for you? You just told me you couldn't call 911. Now, when you weren't even supposed to be involved, you happen to be on another day, and now you're volunteering to call for help. So I'm telling you that technology cannot be trusted. I don't know if the experts are saying that, but I'm saying you cannot count on, rely on technology. You cannot trust technology to tell you the truth about if it is or is not using your information and how. And there is no, how do you hold it responsible? How do you hold it responsible? That's one of the problems. Okay, so now in the future, we know that there will be automation of work. And we know now that certain types of jobs are the most likely to be replaced. Okay. There's certain jobs that will be the most likely to be replaced. And machinery and robots will do those jobs. We also know that there's some jobs that are not likely to be replaced as quickly or as easily, or will not be replaced for now, for right now. Don't count on it in the future, because as was discussed also over in Asia, there are many types of robots created, designed, and functioning to do almost everything that human beings do with each other. And this includes intimacy acts. There are robots that do almost everything, and they are being perfected. I know for another thing that was reported to me, and I thank God for those who reported this, there are police forces, robots being created to take over the police force so that we don't have policemen getting shot. But now you're dealing with a robot. And if the robot discerns you wrongly as a criminal, if the robot misidentifies you, if the robot deprioritizes you, listen, who is going to be held responsible? We have enough problem holding people responsible that are responsible in different nations for wrongdoing. How are we now going to take those people out of the equation, have someone operate behind the robot, and now the robot is performing the function of law enforcement and um, militaries? Militaries. We haven't even touched on governments and legal systems problems, warnings, dangers regarding technology. We haven't even touched on that today, and the show is coming to a 40 some minutes, which, we only do about 50 some minutes. And I need to tell you a few other things before we close. But automation of the future, yes, it's going to increase, but that's really the least of your worries, because what is also going to happen is that technology has such a social impact and a cultural, I want to call it fragmenting. Culture will be so impacted by technology in so many ways, and it will happen quickly. It's not going to be a slow, gradual climb. It's going to be fast. And when you now go to this, and this for groceries, for pharmacy, for whatever, you're going to be interacting with technology in whatever form. You're going to be interacting. So now we're going to have to adapt ourselves to know how to communicate with technology. Now, you take people who are undereducated and in poverty, they're not going to know any of what we just discussed, nothing. And they're going to be confronted and faced and harmed and hurt by technology. It's wrong. There's too many millions of people that will be caught in the system of technologizing, if you will. I'm making that word up, of course, but causing the technology to now impact and infiltrate everything is going to blindside human beings and take lives. People will be so full of anxiety and frustration in trying to learn how to interact with technology. Okay, listen, I'm not trying to sound like I'm emotionally out of control. I'm trying to emphasize to you with compassion and passion that there is real danger. It's really coming. It's really fast. It's subtle. It's hidden. It's snowballing. It's out of control. And the people who did this, they should be held responsible. They can't be, because we'll never identify them. Some of them won't still be alive if we could. But I do thank Nick Bostrom for devoting the rest of his life to correcting the problems with technology and these hidden dangers. And I do think the rest of the development community for addressing the issues. I really think that we all need to become more aware of technology dangers and do what we can about it, and make sure that we share the information freely in every bit of our communication, on every website, every recorded message, every broadcast. We ought to be actively engaging in the free distribution of some of these videos we're making in my businesses, my corporations. And by the way, this is just for the public. This is not for us to make a monetary gain of it. We're still trying to communicate with people in other cultures who do not even have access to technology. People who don't have smartphones, people who don't have money for data, but people who have a need to survive, and people who have families, and people who have cultures. They may not be privy to what the Western world or Europe or different parts of the Middle East, and I hate to say the Middle East because there's no real Middle East, but what they are accessing, they all have the access. We all have more access. But for those poor people who do not have access, have mercy. Let us produce what we can to try to inform them before the technology bombards and overwhelms and destroys them, their families, their lives. It's wrong. It's very wrong. Okay, so aside from that, or no, I shouldn't say aside from that, the things that I want you to walk away from this broadcast with, I'll tell you right after I talk to you about the impact of technology on the environment. Many people are very concerned about the environment, rightfully so. The environment is also negatively affected by technology. There are things being toxic to the soil and our environments that are being discarded when we discard technology improperly. Many people don't know that. If you put certain parts of your computer or your phone into the trash, you can create a bigger problem. And so many people don't really realize that. But we have to consider the ecosystem, and we have to consider e-waste and climate change. And I want to bring your attention to that fact because it's something we're going to be producing more books about, ebooks, videos, teaching, training, learning, coaching, and distributing that information as well as discussing it on these broadcasts. Because the public, the human populations, all of humanity needs to know what are the dangers that I'm dealing with when I deal with technology. What are the hidden dangers? And what are my options? What can I do about it? What steps can I take? How can I do anything? This is the information that we're going to continue to provide on this broadcast. So first of all, today, let me just review that we discussed reliance on technology and many different aspects that technology impacts our lives negatively. We also have reviewed that one of the big things you can do is monitor your own use of technology and notice how it affects you. Notice how long you stay on and what you do in the future from hearing this broadcast. Also, discuss it with your friends, your family, your coworkers, your employees, or if you own a business, start to policy it in that your employees and your contractors are protected from some of the harms of technology. At least create some type of awareness manual, booklet, videos, and have an in-service or have something that goes out not on technology, that is a face-to-face discussion about the dangers of technology and the seriousness and the coming changes and effects in society with everybody that you can in your network. The other thing I would ask you to do is join some of the other groups as well as bring people to mind that discuss technology's warnings and dangers so they can keep informed. During the holidays, if you give away gifts, buy 100 books, It might cost you $333. Buy 100 videos and distribute them freely to 100 different people to preserve life around the world. You can buy print books. You don't have to buy videos. You can buy ebooks if you like. You can just connect people to the social media platforms that are absolutely free, and they can watch the videos and they can comment and they can see the educational post in their leisure, little clips at a time, under 2 minutes in general, so that there is no harm, or danger being promoted by us. I thank you for watching this broadcast. I really hope that you're taking it seriously and that you realize that every word that I spoke is truth. It has been researched and it was provided to you free. If you would donate something to Global Symposium, it will allow me to continue to share the messages, the information, perform the research, and literally help other people come out of poverty. One of the things that we're doing is we help people who learn about this technology to write about it because they can sell their writings all over the world. We also encourage and help and support them to publish their writings on their own by Amazon KDP and become business owners legitimately and legally in different nations around the world where it is hard for people to have incomes and where some places like Nigeria, their currency has diminished 3 times in probably the last month in its value. So I would just like to state to you that we are not a charity, but if you give anything to this broadcast, call it a tip, to do something to encourage us, whatever you call it. If you give some financially to this method that I have for Global Symposium, conversation, dialogues, teaching, and free education, then we will use it to help other people go forward in their lives and development. We are not a charity, and nor do I wish to be entangled with the changes that keep coming to charities and the scrutiny, and a lot of that is problematic. I created this show, I produce it, I host it, I invite people that are experts around the world to join us, as well as government officials, to tell their people what they will do or what they are doing to help protect them from technology and make them aware as they join in this fight. I thank everyone who has any type of broadcasting and communication mechanism operating to help people around the world become informed and become more protected and reduce the dangers and the damages of technology on all human life and on our planet and in every business operation. There is a thrust for businesses to become more and more technologically engaged, more tech usage, more tech generated revenue. And I urge you to use caution. What happens if and when the turning of the earth slows down and actually stops your signal, stops your communication, shuts down utilities, shuts down the things that are dependent upon technology for unknown, unspecified periods of time? What happens to your business? What happens to those that are in your employment? What happens to families that are dependent on that tech-controlled water and utility supply, or daylight or sunlight? What happens to us? What happens to our communication? You see, these are the considerations that we have to really take in mind. We still need records that are not on the computer. We still need to use our own hands to labor. We still need to have communication that is not dependent on this technology. And I urge you to consider it carefully, prayerfully, what I've said. Consider it, because I am simply delivering the message of a global symposium, a dialogue between humanity and humanity about what is going on, what we can do, how we can come together and protect ourselves. It's going to take all of us. Make no mistake, we need to come together in unity and have a consensus of what we're saying. What we're saying is stop the technology from harming us. And what I'm saying that I hope you will agree and also say is I'm going to take steps to help myself learn about technology on an ongoing daily basis. And one of the places I will connect to do that is Global Symposium. I will connect with others and other places and other means to protect myself from technology and to understand the dangers, be they hidden or be they overt. I will tell my friends, family, citizens, people who run my country, my feelings and thoughts on this issue, and I will communicate it with my employers and educational institutions and health providers and law enforcement and judicial systems. Let's start there. That's a good place to start. If you look in the corner of the screen, you will see a QR code to PayPal. If you'd like to participate, I appreciate it. And if you'd like to purchase from us, I'll be posting places besides this Matimba online store where you can buy our books and read what we have written. You can buy a print book from Amazon. You can buy email books, and pretty soon you'll also be able to get audio books, and we'll hold a podcast, which we haven't set up yet. We are listed in many different platforms through anyone. So if you would like your Facebook, your TikTok, your YouTube to carry this broadcast, your Instagram, or you have a media television station, or you would like to go through StreamYard or any of the other broadcast mechanisms and apps and platforms, let us know and we will be happy to allow you to broadcast this broadcast. Thank you so much for watching Global Symposium. I love you. I care how you are. Thank you. See you next Monday for more information on technology's warnings and dangers. It's been a great show. Thank you, Bishop Matimba. I'm finished for today.
Global Thiess TV, Global Thiess TV, and Global Thiess TV. I like to read. Yes, indeed. We're a dying breed that like to read. It's information we need. Reading is like planting a seed. I enjoy it. Reading is fun. I enjoy it. Reading is fun. I like to feed on books. Quiet, please. I'm trying to read. Quiet, please. I'm trying to read. Quiet, please. I'm trying to read. Grab a book. Find a spot. Join me. Concentrate, focus, enjoy your book. Sound out the letters. Don't cry. Just